All right. Now we're recording. I'll just try to make sure we have the right layout. We'll see afterwards anyway. All right, then hello, Kerim. Welcome to this interview, and thank you so much for joining me in this interview today.
Hi, Eva. Thank you.
Yeah, we want to talk about mental health today. And I am Eva. I work as a psychologist at OpenUp. And OpenUp is a company that wants to make mental health accessible to everyone. So we offer a lot of online content on mental health on our website, and also one-on-one consultations with our psychologists. And we cooperate with DEKRA Digital, and that means that all employees of DEKRA Digital have access to our services. So they can book sessions with a psychologist. They can also access our online content in their own time to work on their mental health, to get support whenever they want to. And yeah, as said, we want to talk about mental health today, but first of all, would you also like to introduce yourself?
Of course. I'm Kareem. I'm CEO of DEKRA Digital. I'm half Egyptian, half German by origin, and so used to work with different nationalities and with diverse teams. And I'm leading our activities here in DEKRA Digital, where we're trying to build new digital services in the space of safety, security, and sustainability, kind of innovating the testing, inspection, and certification field.
Oh, interesting. And yeah, as we're talking about mental health today, how are you doing today as a first question?
I'm actually doing really well. I haven't slept much, but not because I'm a bad sleeper, and also not because of my two daughters that usually keep me up from sleep, but I was just traveling back this morning, and yesterday we had a nice award ceremony. And so I have limited amount of sleep, but I'm very, very positive, full of energy, because we have good achievements and a good vibe in the team currently.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And we wanted to talk a bit more about purpose today, the topic of purpose, also maybe touch on the topic of mindfulness. So I'm curious, what does purpose mean to you?
I think purpose is something that is really a motor, or something that drives us, that puts us with energy and keeps us getting up every morning, so that we know what we really do, why we're doing what we do. And this has, of course, and I'm not an expert on these topics, but I can, of course, relate to what I have read, that we really have shifts there in generations. Like previous generations were maybe driven a bit more by materialistic things and by just achieving something that is put before them. But I think our generations and younger generations are even more motivated to work on things that really make sense to them. That is increasing safety in life, is making a better life, is making an environment more safe or sustainable. And so really to put something forward that really motivates you aside from materialistic things. So this would be something that I would comprise as having a purpose-driven enterprise in that sense.
Mm-hmm. So something that gives motivation, also kind of a direction.
Right. Well, of course, you have a mission and you have a vision. So that is something. The vision kind of gives you the long-term objective where you want to reach. The mission is what you do on a daily basis, and this should then create the purpose for the individual. So I want to work on that mission. This is a mission that is compelling to me. This is something that I can really put my heart and my dedication to, and I can identify myself with it. And I think if that is not the case, then something is missing, and it will not going to be a long-term sustainable collaboration then with individuals. And the same is for myself. So if I do not have a purpose-driven activity that I do, at least in the midterm, maybe not every day is super purposeful, that's okay. It's an invest into something. Mm-hmm. But in the midterm range, the activities that I do on a daily basis should lead to something that I'm convinced of. And if that is not the case, then probably it's the wrong time invest that I have spent on a daily basis. At least that would be my outtake then at the end of this, of a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm. And what is that for you individually? This purpose, this mission?
For me, like the bigger mission for me in life is to leave the world in a bit a better place than I have found it, and to contribute of making it a bit better than it has been before. So I'm a very change interested person. So I'm not a person who kind of likes to optimize what is there. I always like to learn new, experience new, and also use good things that I have learned and experienced in order to make things better. So therefore, the mission of DEKRA Digital, of working or innovating safety, sustainability, and security, is very compelling to me naturally. So that is something I can identify with. So we basically, what we do, and if you put it in two easy sentences, is that we help new technology that hits the markets to be really trusted, so that we can enjoy the beauty of technology, right? So my two kids, they are 4 and 2. They will eventually drive in a self-driving car, and I'm super enthusiastic of technology, but I'm also very enthusiastic of making sure that they are safe and sound. So if I can contribute to that with the work that we do as DEKRA Digital and in DEKRA in the greatest sense, then this is something that I feel a lot of rewarding purpose in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really cool to hear that you're really, that it really resonates with you, what you're doing and the mission you're working in. And how has been your journey with finding your purpose? Right now you mention you feel motivated and you feel this mission and this purpose. How has it been in the past?
So I think there is probably not that I had like one point in my life where I woke up and said like, I found my purpose, this is it. Or like, or at least that is something that I'm aspiring to do. It was more that it also met me somehow, and I identified my strength. I think I'm again very curious person, curious in stories, curious in people, curious in learning new. And this curiosity, I think I translated then into something that is driving this mission. And out of this curiosity, also these kind of environment of working in these safety and security topics found me somehow, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that using the strength now of being able to put people together and working with positive energy towards these topics. And so this was kind of how probably my journey was. But it wasn't that I woke up when I was 14 and kind of said, okay, my life is going to be this, is going to be the purpose of my direction. I kind of developed that continuously. It was a lot of traveling, was a lot of back and forth. And then, but anyways, like where I put my efforts into, usually I try to kind of give my best, and also, and align myself then with that general mission. But there is like, there's also always a choice against other things, right? So if you're choosing for something, you choose against something. And I think there were other opportunities in life where like the mission would have maybe been just making more money, or just, having more free time. But I chose deliberately against that, and rather stayed on the track of advancing what I believe in.
So you also related to making choices, making decisions.
Yes.
Also related.
A lot. And specifically, if you don't know, like 10 years before you embark on that journey, what is your purpose, then I think it's a gradual development of that, by making choices in the moment. And through that, I think you also realize and find out if there's a wrong decision, then you redo it eventually, or if it was a good decision that does you benefit and that you feel healthy and you feel well with it, and then you continue on that path. And I think that is something also very much an approach, at least that I chose, on constantly evolving, going in different directions. But maybe that was just me not knowing at the age of 14 again where I'm going to head when I'm 42 as I'm now.
So it also was a bit trial and error there.
Yeah, for sure. And also believing in good things will come if you do good things yourself.
Mm-hmm. So how did you make decisions? When you say through making decisions, trying things out, you got to this place when you weren't as sure yet, or as in your purpose yet. How did you make decisions?
So I tend to do informed decisions, but that of course are also enriched by the experience that I gathered in other decisions that I took prior. So in that curiosity that I have, opportunities come. because you're just looking into different directions. You're open. Within my own company here, I had like different roles and different things that was offered to do, and somehow I still believe in something. I'm not a mathematician that sits down then and counts numbers and things, but it's a lot about gut feeling. And I think this gut feeling gets more informed the older you get or the more decisions you have taken. And eventually, I think you can almost like build it like a muscle that helps you to take right decisions, or at least for yourself, right decisions. And of course, this is something that is fueled then by self-confidence. I think that is something that you need to have. Otherwise, you don't trust yourself in taking good decisions. And so you're the expert on these topics. So I'm just trying to make up what I believe in, but probably you can explain it way better than I do. But yeah, so this is my take on it.
Yeah, I think you're making a lot of really great points there, and that trusting in yourself and making decisions when you can be an informed decision, but that you also trust your feeling and in yourself being okay and going on with the decision that you made.
Right.
And that something will come out of it, at least a learning. Yeah. Nice. And how does then purpose relate to your mental well-being?
I think if you like, mental well-being to me is something that is a constant subject that you need to work on, or that you kind of constantly have to have in focus, or at least make sure that you do a lot of prevention, that you don't kind of fall into traps that will lead to something that eventually spirals you down into a negative mental health situation. So having said that, for having the right purpose is informing your well-being on a mental space, in my view, because you know what you get up to, you know why you work, you know why you put time and effort into something, and it in purpose ideally leads to something that you like. At the end of the day, I think liking things is something very powerful that kind of unleashes a lot of energy in people. I 100% believe, for example, I always ask colleagues in our teams, what do you like and what are you good at? And like, if you have a match there, that would be the topics that I would like these people to be working on. I do not believe in that you don't like something and still you're good at it. So it needs to be a combination of those two. And I think that is something, at least in my past leadership experience, it always leads to good outcomes. And then you might eventually change a total role. We have changed people working in marketing to suddenly becoming an HR person, because we realized the person is a very people-centric person, and not so much in numbers of marketing, but maybe somebody who's really, really good with people and likes also to speak with people. So this is, again, something, and I, again, to do the same for myself in identifying the task that I'm taking.
Mm-hmm. And what does that look like on a daily or weekly basis, to be aware of that for yourself?
I'm not sure if it is really something very consciously done daily. At least maybe unconsciously it's always like kind of there, but that's what I tried to say earlier, that not on a daily basis it has to be the most fulfilling, purposeful day. I don't believe in it. I think we would make things up if it is like that. Like every day I go out and save the world twice per day. It's not the case. But every now and then you like to sit down with your loved ones, with dear friends, with a coach, and review the efforts that you have taken over the past couple of days, weeks, month, and then reassess again if that is on the right track and if that is really in line with what is motivating yourself, what is developing your purpose. And yeah, and so this is probably the approach that I'm taking. So I'm working since 5 years with a business coach. He's a psychotherapist, but we work mainly on business topics, coaching me in my leadership, coaching me in decision taking. And this is something that I do probably every 4 weeks. And those probably would be on top of the private surroundings, like the events where I sit down and reflect.
Mm. So lots of reflection, but also interaction with people around you, with support that you're reaching out to and using to reflect.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. And how do you then enable others to, you already mentioned how you apply it to the company and see where people find joy. How do you inspire others and enable them to find their purpose and live or work according to it?
So first of all, before people join DEKRA Digital, we are very transparent on what we work on, what we do, what is important for us, also kind of what kind of personalities we appreciate in the team. We appreciate any personality, but we have a very high density of very positive people that have a great aspiration in themselves and that are really motivated by life in itself. So this is something we lay a big focus on. And as I said earlier, we will try always to identify the strength of an individual, both in what they're really good at and capable of, but also what they like to do. And then this would be something where we try to find jobs, tasks, topics that they work on. And the nice opportunity, of course, is as we are a newly founded 4-year-old company, and if you want to say so, almost like a digital startup, we have that opportunity that we do not have fixed roles where we hire people, but sometimes we have hired people just because we feel that they are super extension or super addition to what we have in our teams already. And we give them then when they are here, the opportunity to learn and see what we do, and then sit down together with them and identify what should be the task and the career path as well for them. So putting a lot of effort on development, putting a lot of effort on listening to the people that we have in the teams.
Mm-hmm. And in your private and social surroundings, how is purpose a topic there in your interaction with the people around you outside work?
I'm not sure if probably there is a bit of different line of purpose that I would pursue, because I'm a very social person. So already I find a lot of my energy in communicating with people and exchanging social events and sitting down, having a glass of wine or a tea. And so discussing topics, having fun together. So probably that is what I would spend a lot of my time in my private environment on. And simply, again, also that back to the curiosity, learning from others, learning from their experiences. And I strongly, for example, I strongly believe every person has an interesting story to tell. And I really mean it. So I was traveling the world for 6 months after my studies, proving that point. Like even people where you say, very different to me, I don't think that we have much in common. What should be my interest in that person? And then you sit down because you have the time. And then you realize after a couple of questions, wow, there's like a whole area of experience within that person and stories that you don't know. And this is already something that really drives and motivates me a lot. So this is something to accumulate that and get those human interest stories. That is something I draw a lot of energy from.
Yeah. Cool.
Probably you do the same, otherwise you wouldn't have chosen your profession, right?
I agree. I strongly agree that there's a lot of interesting stories out there, and I'm very curious as well. And what kind of challenges do you come across when it comes to purpose and your mission?
Well, the environment that we work in a kind of a technological driven environment, has a lot of change, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of speed to it. So you cannot like simply stay on your own track that you have identified for some time. So there might be external influences that need you to redirect, go in different ways. Nobody's 100% self-defined or without any influence from outside. And I think that is something, of course, that can pose a challenge or can pose a redirection of the way that you want it to go. And this is something that you need to cope with. But of course, also this, I was working in my previous job here at DEKRA, was assisting our CEO for a couple of years. So building also that muscle of stress resistance and being able to cope with quick changes and change of plans, change of direction, like something hits and then you need to react to it. So this is actually something I do like, but I'm not sure if it is for everybody. But I do believe that you can build a resilience or a resistance towards negative stress. And I'm not sure, again, you're the expert, if there is something such as positive and negative stress, but I tend to like when it's dynamic and when it's really not boring and a lot of quick changes. So I do not get bothered by it, but I really get into a zone there where I feel very comfortable.
Yeah. So you thrive also on those challenges a bit.
I do. Okay. I'm probably a competitive person in that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So what helps you in dealing with this stress and all those changes?
Surrounding myself with people that help positively drive through that stress, and people that you can rely on, so that you know that you have a team, that you have friends, that you have family, like somebody who is also able to guide you or be on your side. Second thing, as I said earlier, is like almost like a prevention, or that you take care of your mental health. Like if you're not that you go into these moments prepared, that you go in these moments at ease, that you go in these moments you feel comfortable. This is the aspiration. It's clearly not always the case, but I do believe that you can do that. And again, with working since 5 years, every 4 weeks with a coach, this is something that helps a lot to build that muscle, I believe. And we have also offered that to other peoples in our team, and of course through OpenUp now to the whole team. And for example, for me, it's not just about crisis prevention. It's not about or dealing with a crisis of whatever mental health issue it is, but it's exactly the opposite. It is rather creating a positive momentum to be really resilient towards mental health, or building a mental resilience, right? And so this is something that I would always try to do as preparation, on top, of course, of sports and of putting your mind into almost like a meditative point. I have experienced suddenly to like gardening, which is a very strange thing because I hated it as a kid, but suddenly I do like it. And so doing things that put your mind at ease, and you kind of free yourself from thinking about what lies ahead, but you just stay in the moment, stay in the zone. And I think this is also something that helps the big muscle in the head to calm down and be prepared for whatever stress levels come up.
So also something very individual. If you say for you it's gardening, you found that out now. It was quite surprising for you. So it might also be something that
it's very boring, yeah.
Okay, but so something that you found out for yourself, and that can be quite personal as well, like how you what is a meditative exercise or activity for you.
And I strongly believe that many people already using that. Meditation is still like in some areas, meditation has reached good appreciation levels. I have been using Headspace, for example, the app, for quite some years already on a regular basis. But still, meditation has that, I don't know, has a special vibe. But if you observe people in their day-to-day, almost everybody does something very meditative, like something very repetitive, where you just use your physical instead of the head. But I tend to realize that not everybody sees it as something that is almost like a meditation, but still people go to that place. So it's good to have it, but probably we could just acknowledge it. And if you clean the house, or if you, I don't know, fill the dishwasher, like those are almost like meditative moments. I think you can shut off your head.
Yeah, it sounds like a very nice takeaway as well, to say you for sure have some of those activities already in your daily life. You just need to see them and acknowledge them and give them so much more power by being aware of them.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you so much for sharing all your insights and experience and answering all my questions. And yeah, what is there something final that you want to take people away from this interview that are watching this?
Well, I don't want to do an advertisement for OpenUp, but I'm really, really thankful that this company exists. And this has been something we have been searching for before, but we didn't find it. So something that we could offer to the team so that they feel very trusted, that they can rely on somebody else outside of the team, somebody outside of the family as well, but on the same side, a professional like yourself, so that they can get somebody to speak. And I think just the speaking about topics already is a lot of value in it. And so I get very, very, very positive remarks from our team that really a lot of people using it, and they not use it shortly before a breakdown, but they use it simply because they feel I'm interested in seeing it. And usually everybody takes something positive out of it. So probably it's just for me to say big thanks that OpenUp exists, and I would hope that it really works out also in the long run. But I really like this approach, and I've used it myself a couple of times already and had very good conversations. And it's not always like, it's not about healing a big depression or healing whatever big issues you and I have with our parents or with the siblings. But sometimes it's just day-to-day things where you realize, okay, it's a good different perspective on things, and that give you kind of almost like a tool set to overcome maybe also sometimes smaller issues that are in the day-to-day, but that help you again to release yourself of stress levels that are more negative and could lead in the long term to some mental health issues. And I think that is specifically why we're using OpenUp.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. It's great to hear how you see this. And again, thanks for joining. And yeah.
Thank you very much for having me.
Of course.
Thanks.
Okay, now I can
speak German again.
I will stop the recording now.